It's Tuesday again, and the vendors have all new stuff. Let's check them out, starting in the Scholarium. We have Bound Affix Script Evasion, adds evasion, a buff reducing damage from area effects. Bound Focus Script Shock Damage, adds shock damage. Bound Signature Script Assassin's Misery, adds improved use of status effects. And it looks like that's it. Let's head over to the sewers. We've made our way into the Imperial sewers. Let's see what the Telvar Merchant has. Starting with High Isle treasure maps, I don't think these are worth 6,000 Telvar, but if you're curious, High Isle brings us Blessings of High Isle, Steadfast Metal, and Sister's Scowl, as well as a chance for Ancestral Breton motif leads. There's not really any fantastic leads from this like we see with some of the more recent expansions, so I say just get these from traders. Our scripts, we have Bound Affix Script Berserk, adds Berserk, a buff increasing damage done. Bound Affix Script Protection, adds protection, a buff reducing damage taken. Bound Focus Script Taunt, adds a taunt. And Bound Signature Script Anchorite's Cruelty, adds a consumed soul gem to deal oblivion damage effect. Next, we have Fragment of the Sunspire. This is one of 6 pieces of the Puncture Lava Burst skill style. This one drops, of course, from the final boss of the Trial Sunspire. If you're not a trial person, this is an opportunity to get it for 50,000 Telvar. It is expensive, and this is a guaranteed drop off the final boss, even if you run it in normal. So if you have the opportunity to run a trial, I would get it that way. But if you don't, here's a way to get it. Next up, we have Lead Charm of the Shapeless. This is part of Ring of the Wild Hunt, and this one drops off of Murkmire World bosses and Delve bosses. So any boss in Murkmire can give you this. I would probably just go into a Murkmire Delve and kill it a few times until you get it. Next, we have Lead Engine Salt Chains. This is part of the Saint and the Seducer mythic. This one drops off the Delve Sheogorath's Tongue in Stonefalls. Again, pretty easy to get, so I would just get it that way. 25,000 Telvar is pretty steep. And then finally, we have Necklace and Ring of Beckoning Steel, as well as Necklace and Ring of Vice Cannon, part of the Vice Cannon of Venom set. All right, let's head over to Infinite Archive. Let's see what Filer Ul has for us. First up is super exciting. We have treasure maps from Solstice. I know a lot of people are going to be excited about this one. Not only does Solstice bring us Death Dancer, Full Belly Barricade, 3 Queens Wellspring, and Zanmir Genesis, but there are now 13 furnishing leads that drop from treasure maps in Solstice. The drop rate is not fantastic. I'd say maybe 1 in 6 on a good day will drop a lead, but you also need to get 3 of each furnishing in order to be able to buy them for gold. So housers typically want to get all 3 so that at any time they can go buy them for gold. The problem is it's not curated. So if it does drop 1 in 6, you're not multiplying 6 times 13, and that's how many maps you need. You probably need hundreds of maps to get the full collection. 2,000 Archival Fortunes is a bit steep, but have you priced the maps lately? About 50 to 60K on PC at A. Now, if you notice, the coffer that you get is bound, but the map inside is not. So this is also a potential moneymaker. So if you have more Archival Fortunes than you know what to do with, it looks like you'll get about 50K from these. If the market floods, maybe they'll go down to 40. I don't think it's too much cheaper. Just a heads up, I just got a bunch of the Solstice maps. When I maxed out on my 6, I bought a 7th one. However, when I opened it, usually what it will do is it will give me a repeat map. I just can't pull it out of the coffer until I dig up the other one. But it gave me a Western Skyrim treasure map. So be very, very careful. I'm hoping they'll address this before the end of the week. But to be safe, only get 6 at a time or less. Otherwise, you're going to end up wasting some Archival Fortunes. All right, Archival Riddles. Consume 20 Archival Riddles to unlock the Archival Veteran Achievement and the Veteran of the Infinite Body Art. Here's your Veteran of the Infinite Body Art. At 3,000 Archival Fortunes apiece, if you were to buy all 20 this way, that would make it very, very expensive. This is also a guaranteed drop if you just do enough dailies in Infinite Archive, so I say skip this one personally. Our scripts, we have Bound Affix Script Force, adds force, a buff increasing critical damage. Bound Affix Script Heroism, adds heroism, a buff increasing ultimate generation. Bound Focus Script Mitigation, adds damage reduction. And Bound Signature Script Cavalier's Charge, adds an increase to damage as ability persists effect. Our style page this week is Mighty Chudan. This style page drops out of Ruins of Mazatoon whenever the little window opens up, which is about 4 days typically. You have a better chance of getting it if you have the hard mode. The hard mode in Mazatoon isn't horrible, but it does require some group coordination. So you may not have it if you don't have a group that you typically run with. But more than that, these masks have an awful drop rate. So I just recommend getting all of them, regardless of how hard the hard mode is. I think 15,000 Archival Fortunes, when you talk about time investment, is definitely worth it. This is a couple runs of a couple arcs apiece. Like, that's nothing compared to the dozens of runs of a dungeon that you'll probably have to do. All right, next up is companion equipment weapons. The companion equipment, I think, is hit or miss. They're bound, so you cannot sell them if you buy them and you don't like what you get. You're at the mercy of RNG as to what trait you get. So if you're looking for something specific, you may not get it, and you may have just wasted a bunch of Archival Fortunes. Compared to, like, say, the mask, 5,000 Archival Fortunes here, I think is pretty steep, unless you happen to get lucky. Our first book is Daedric Worship and the Dark Elves. There's a link below about how this works. However, in order to buy this book or find it in, this one drops in Infinite Archive, you need to have learned the eidetic memory for it. This book you can find in the wild in the Mages Guild in Necrom in Telvanni Peninsula. Or you can just go to my house on PCNA or EU. I'm in the house tours. You can find all the information below. All right, our first plan this week is Diagram Deadlands Candle Holder Etched. Runs about 35 to 50 on PCNA. PCEU runs anywhere from 27k to 799k. It's a little all over the place over there. But it is here for 2,000 Archival Fortunes. If you need it, I think that's a good price. Formula Redguard Hourglass of Desert Sands for 2,000 Archival Fortunes. Again, it runs 35 to 45k on PCNA, about 52 to 75k on PCEU. Now remember, all of these are bind on pickup. So these are not money makers, these are money savers. I know sometimes there's some confusion, but these are bound. Next up, we have Fragment of the Ratmaster. This is one of 5 pieces of Mist Form Violet Purple skill style. This one drops from the Eastmarch World Boss Ratmaster's Prowl. And remember, this is going to be a guaranteed drop if you get it that way. Is that worth 1,000 Archival Fortunes? I mean, 1,000 Archival Fortunes isn't super difficult to get, so either way, I won't be mad at you, but that is how you would get it in the wild if you wanted it. Next up, our leads, we have Santakian Construct Plating. This is part of Rourke and Steam Guards. This particular one drops off of the delve in the Alakir Desert called Sancti. I don't think that's too terribly difficult to get. You will probably have to kill the boss several times to get it. So if you get frustrated with it, it is here for 5,000 Archival Fortunes. And Skin Shifter's Cowl, part of Huntman's War Mask. This one drops out of the Rothgar Delve Argent Mine. Same thing. Shouldn't be super difficult to get, but if you get frustrated, it's here. Our final plan this week is Praxis Elsewhere Lightpost Ancient Tall. It runs 15 to 25k on PCNA and about 18 to 60k on EU, although most fall in that 20 range. So similar pricing on EU. I don't think for 2,000 Archival Fortunes this is a bad deal. 6 House Ornamental Fasteners. This is one of 7 pieces of the 6 House Robes. You can get these pieces in the public dungeon Forgotten Wastes in Vardenfell. But they only run about 500 or 600 gold on traders on PCNA. So I'd rather get them that way than spend 3,000 Archival Fortunes a piece. Of the 3 ways that you can get them, running the public dungeon, getting them from guild traders, or buying them here, I think this is the worst of the 3 ways to get it. And finally, our final book is Tidefall Cantos 1. Same deal as the other book. You need the eidetic memory, which comes from Fathom's Drift in Apocrypha, and then the book itself could drop in IA, or you can buy it here. But again, you will need to know the eidetic memory. And that's it. Let's see what new gear is dropping in IA this week, and we'll be back in just a sec. We just finished a couple arcs in Infinite Archive, and it looks like we have gear dropping from Addon. That includes Armor of the Veiled Heritance, Queen's Elegance, and Twin Sisters, as well as from Somerset, which includes Grace of Gloom, Griffin's Ferocity, and Wisdom of Vanus. All right, that's going to do it for this week. We'll see you in the next one. And this one drops off the Sancti Delve in the... words. Words are so difficult. Let's try again.